Do you know how hard it is to make it as an indie band these days? There's so much competition because everyone sounds the same. This is Flop Culture. You are listening to Flop Culture, a podcast where I, Fionnuala Jones, speak to an esteemed guest about their favourite flop. And I'll bring you up to date on the latest pop culture news. Really hope you enjoyed last week's episode on House of Wax with PJ Kirby. If you haven't listened yet, please do. It's very funny, not because of me, because of PJ. He's hilarious. Tickets to our live show, still on sale, Top of the Flops 2023, with some very special guests. We've got Carla Kay, Padraig Wilson McCarthy, we've got Owen Keane, one for the Suckheads. You can get tickets at wheelanslive.ie. It's November 29th and the tickets are 15 good euros. Would love to see you there. We're at flopculture_pod on all social media. Please don't forget to rate the podcast wherever you're listening. Helps people find the show. 5 stars would be stunning. I'd love that. I'd eat it up. Delicious. And we're on Patreon, patreon.com/flopculture. Got some great content coming this month. Myself and Owen have started Fleabag Season 2. That episode was recorded. Love is Blind, nearly finished. Padraig is going to be chatting to me, recapping the season. And we're also going to be looking at all the behind the scenes drama because there's loads. There's a reason why loads of couples didn't make it to the altar. Some of it kind of grim, some of it contestants lying about things. Very interesting. We'll be getting into it as well as some other bonus episodes. So come join us. Would love to have you. Now that that's all said and done, let's get into the news. Holly Willoughby has left the This Morning building. She told ITV this week that she would not be returning to This Morning after 14 years. Announced the news on Instagram. She said, I've let ITV know today that after 14 years, I will not be returning to This Morning. To everyone who's ever worked on the show over the years, thank you so much. This is such a difficult goodbye. You are incredible and I forever will be proud of what we've done together. Thank you to everyone at ITV for being supportive. To every guest who has sat on our sofa, thank you. She hasn't been on the show herself since last Thursday after a 36-year-old man was charged with an alleged plot to kidnap and murder the presenter, which is just absolutely insane. Terrifying experience. I've seen people get the tinfoil hats out and be like, there must be more to this. No one would be charged if this wasn't true. It's the only thing I will say. I'm very up for getting a tinfoil hat out about celebrity, media, stuff like that, but I don't think it's applicable here. Do I think more will come out surrounding herself and Phil and that whole situation, her former co-presenter Philip Schofield? That all happened earlier this year, if you can believe that. This feels like the shortest and longest year in the history. I absolutely believe there's more to come of that situation, potentially. But just because it was potentially being withheld for so long, the information surrounding Philip and stuff like that. But beyond that, I do feel like this was just a call she's made, as she says in her statement, for her family and for her own protection, as you would imagine, like a very terrifying prospect. I don't know what this means for her on Dancing on Ice. That's the other kind of flagship show that she hosts on ITV. ITV bosses have said they're looking forward to working with Holly in the future. She had a lovely tribute paid to her by Craig Doyle and Rochelle Humes this morning on the Wednesday show. Basically, obviously, agreed she was doing the right thing and celebrating her, said it was always fun when she came into work. So yeah, truly end of an era. Not sure who's going to be next. I know they were working on replacing Philip, but now because Holly had become the lead presenter, the priority is shifting to there. I don't know. Craig Doyle seems in with a shout if it's going to be, man, woman, because God forbid it was 2 men, God forbid it was 2 women. Gender balance, girls, am I right? Anyway, Craig Doyle seems to be kind of leading the charge in terms of a potential male presenter. After that, I don't really know. It's not a show that I followed religiously. It's one that or at all, to be honest. It's one that I watch via clips on social media and viral moments and stuff like that. But yeah, end of an era all the same. From the end of an era to a start of a new one, Big Brother is back. Did you watch? Please let me know. flopculture_pod on Instagram and TikTok. More than 2.5 million people watched these brand new contestants, 16 in total so far, enter the Big Brother house as the show returned to British TV for the first time in 5 years. And Irish TV, and I'm sure people are watching everywhere else. I watched the launch episode, which was obviously pre-recorded, which I'm going to be honest, I did find strange. But I think it's hard when you have the electric live shows to compare it to. I think there's a lot of other factors at play now. Safety is probably a big one that maybe they're kind of not as willing to acknowledge. I think the word on the street was kind of around preventing production mishaps and wanting to have it kind of as controlled as possible. But I think that came through. I really like AJ Ododu. I really like Will Best. Do I think the show needs two presenters? I'm not sure. And I will keep watching and I will let you know if my opinion changes on that. It's not because I think one of them is better than the other. Sometimes I just think it's a bit much, especially in that opening night where they went into the house. The Late and Live companion show, pretty good. I watched the first episode of that with the Vivian, Jordan Stevens and Kimberly Wyatt, and they did the thing of taking questions from the audience with a big skinny mic. Love to see it. Bop year for the skinny mic girls, am I right? But sometimes I just feel like it can be a bit now. I will say AJ and Will seem to be rotating hosting duties for that Late and Live, which makes sense because it'd probably be very exhausting doing the 5 days a week when you're probably also having to watch and make notes and do your own research yourself. So far, like Yinran, I think she could potentially win. She seems to have a lot of public backing. I'm recording this obviously in advance of the first eviction. I think Olivia's going to go. I think Olivia's not done well in convincing the public to be on her side. I could be wrong about that though. I'm absolutely open to being wrong about that. Hallie, I think, is great. I think it's really good to obviously have that representation in a time in the UK when things are so difficult. And I hope she is taken care of within there because it is a difficult situation to be put in. But as I said, I think the response has been largely very positive so far, which is great. I will say I did find like the immediate speculation around her kind of very frustrating and around her identity. And I wonder, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that, but I just feel like the immediate speculation in the comments and like people kind of desperate to find out how she identified, I found very strange. And I do wonder why maybe that wasn't dealt with a bit more in advance. But it was obviously because Hallie had made a decision to say it to the housemates when she was in there. I'm not sure. If you have any strong opinions on that, let me know. Did you fall off? Are you totally over it? The reviews, I thought, seemed largely positive, but obviously I'm in a big reality TV echo chamber as well on my own social media. And everyone seemed to be into it. Everyone likes how diverse the cast is, and they all seem to be very normal and stuff like that. But some of the reviews, I know the Times, I think, called it a fossil of the noughties, which, harsh, girls, harsh. So yeah, we'll see. Keep me posted. Do you hate it? Do you love it? Still watching? Couldn't be less over it. Let me know. Finally, from one fossil of the noughties to another, let's get into this week's flop. The noughties were an especially difficult decade for women, especially those working in media. When they weren't being vilified for usually very normal carry-on, they were being sexualised. And sometimes, for some people, the Venn diagram intersected so that both were happening at the same time. A girl can't win. And neither could this movie when it came to critics or the box office, despite its sharp lines and stellar comedic performances. Joining me to discuss the 2009 movie Jennifer's Body is comedian Fiona Frawley. Fiona Frawley.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me on Flop Culture. How are you doing?
Oh my God, I'm good. Hello. Hi. Hey. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me. You're having a whopper year, a bumper time, a busy gal, so I appreciate you making time for me and the Floppies, which is the working title for the listeners of this podcast, which we will come back to. I'm not sure. That's work in progress. Yeah.
No, I'll always make time for a floppy. Like, that's high on my priority list. I will.
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate it so much. Talk to me about your pick.
Okay, so I chose cult classic, some might say, Jennifer's Body, 2009 alleged slasher sex film, which was unappreciated in its time, but looking back, and as many texts will tell you, it's probably because it was marketed as like a sexy movie for guys, but the main plot is that every guy dies, so it's not too sexy for the men. But for the women, it's good crack.
And it's perfect,
Yeah,
because as you said, every man dies.
Yeah, which is just a really important message.
The two men in the room are now shaking their head, but when you said that it was marketed incorrectly as a movie for boys, they both also nodded their heads. So we've got one thing right, at least, in that section. Did you watch it when it was first released, or was it a movie that you came to later? Okay, so then what's your first memory of it, and how does it compare to maybe a more recent watch?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I saw it in the cinema, and I didn't think too much about it at the time in terms of, wow, like this is, genre defining or anything. But I was like, oh, it's good crack. And like then when I saw all these like Jennifer's Body screenings, and that like everyone was like, it's a classic, and sound clipping it on TikTok and stuff, I was like, yeah, it was deadly. And I didn't go back and watch it until we were doing this podcast. So obviously there are some parts that haven't aged too well.
Yeah.
But yes.
I think overall, generally fine. If there was a scale of like problematicness, but there are some throwaway written lines that kind of
there were
they set the teeth on edge.
The button was like pressed many times. But look, Among Us is perfect.
Truly. I'd never watched this, but I have a very specific memory around the release of it, if you'll allow me to share. Are you familiar with the soundtrack of this movie?
Well, like not apart from the song, like but not
the
really.
whole song. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so the soundtrack was done by a label called Fueled by Ramen.
Okay,
which is like a big pop punk label. Fall Out Boy are signed to it now. Paramore were signed to it at one point. But like it's a lot of the tracks that you hear in the movie. Obviously, so you have like Florence and the Machine as well, Little Boots, All Time Low, Cobra Starship, Panic! At the Disco, Paramore, and I am like emo du jour at this point. I'm ripe for the picking. I'm glad I didn't watch this movie at the time, because it would have probably been a canon event for me in a way that it should not have been. It would have completely changed my core personality. So glad for that. But I was, as I said, an emo and was obsessed with Panic! At the Disco. And at this point, they were coming out of like their second album, in which they'd gone a bit more like folky and kind of weird. And everyone was like, what the fuck is this? And then a load of band members left. So it just ended up being the two lads. So this came out ahead of the movie, obviously, and it was like, this is the soundtrack of the year if you're emo or pop punk or whatever. So my parents had brought me on a surfing camp down to Tramore for a week.
Love.
And I knew this song was coming out. So I made them let me use the computer in the hotel to listen to the song from Panic! At the Disco that was released as part of the soundtrack, and it was their first song in between these eras. It's called New Perspective. It plays when Chip is getting ready for prom, I think.
Okay.
It's the woo.
Oh my God.
I'll put in a clip here or Adam will.
No, I think that was perfect.
Perfect. It was actually.
We got
it was no perfect.
Yeah.
But I made my parents sit I can remember it so like viscerally. I made my parents like sit in the lobby while I sat at the big desktop computer with my headphones over, like just listening, playing it off their MySpace page on repeat, just press and play, and then it'd stop and then I'd go again. In fairness, it's an absolute stone cold banger. It's a great song. But that was my only connection to this movie prior to this week. I fucking loved it. It's now obviously a kind like, because it's lived on so well in popular culture and it's had this kind of reappraisal, I knew what happened kind of pretty much, bar like the end, which we'll get to. But for anyone who's not familiar and has some reason hit play on this podcast, what is it about?
So it's basically about this small town hottie, played by Megan Fox, and she has the trademark, insecure best friend, and like they need each other for, specific purposes of young womanhood. That's very important. Yeah. And so it's about them, and they're in a small town trying to catch good vibes wherever they can. They go to this club, where this like cool indie band from the city are coming to play, and the band are actually Satan worshippers, and they need to sacrifice a virgin to make a pact with the man himself, Satan. And they, Jennifer says she's a virgin because she thinks that it will, anyway, they sacrifice her. She becomes a flesh-eating demon. She's feeding off men in the town, young men, teenage boys, and that's basically it. Amanda Seyfried's character finds out and is trying to stop her. And it's good crack. It
is such good crack. And I'll tell you what, Megan Fox, star. Like,
she's incredible.
She is so good in this role, plays it so straight, not a hint of irony about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the issues kind of surrounding why it flopped, you touched on the marketing around it, but like, for people who weren't familiar, like, this was like peak Megan Fox, right? So this movie came out in 2009, but she got her breakout as Michaela in Transformers in 2007, and then the Transformers sequel she's in was also 2009, but this was peak her media before she started doing whatever the fuck she's doing with Machine Gun Kelly, right? So people are obsessed with her, but this also, as she's peaking, there's an eclipse because she starts scrapping with the director of Transformers, Michael Bay, and they have like this very kind of public feud over, you know, like there's lots of rumours that she's like a nightmare on set and everything like that. But she's still kind of like woman du jour for like men of, I was about to say of a certain age, probably any age, right? So they have her as the star and all the marketing goes out and all the posters. And I remember the poster so specifically, like she's sitting on a desk in like her fucking, you know, she's in a plaid skirt and like blah, 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 looking as Megan Fox does. Beautiful. But like, if you were to look at that poster and you knew nothing else, if you left Earth for years and only came back now, and this person walked into the room now and said, can you explain, and I asked them, I was like, can you explain Jennifer's Body to me just based off this image? They'd be like, high school movie, Easy A, something like that.
Exactly.
I think people thought it was Easy A, and it's not Easy A because it's like, there is a lot of comedy and obviously a lot of it takes place in high school, but it's the blending of the two genres, comedy and horror, that I think had some people being like, I don't get it.
Yeah. And just the fact that like she was such a sex symbol, and as you say, the poster is her looking so hot, and then lads go in to watch it and they're like, oh no, all the men are getting murdered and not relevant to the plot, which I think...
They're like, I hate this representation of myself
this does not
being
speak
killed.
for me. But it's actually, like, now that you say that, one thing I definitely remember watching it for the first time, because I didn't watch, like, Transformers or any of that. Respect to everyone who does. Obviously, just not...
No respect, sorry.
No, hey, everyone, just want to say appreciate you.
I tell you what, I watched the third one where they just replaced her with Rosie Huntington-Whiteley. Okay. And I can't remember anything that happens.
Yeah, I don't.
Did you know, fun fact, Optimus Prime is only one of two people who's achieved a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards.
Like anytime...
It's Optimus Prime and someone else. And just for anyone who's unfamiliar, Optimus Prime is a fictional robot.
That's just... Like anytime anything from that world gets like... Is like, oh, the most successful... Do you know the way like it's been Barbie and Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
And like... there was this like look back on other like double features that were that successful over the years, and whenever it's kind of anything to do with Transformers or Marvel or anything, I just switch off because I'm just not. And like I get that everyone, like a lot of people are on that journey for themselves, but it's just something I've never ever delved into. I think it's because I'm from a like girly. There is a boy in my family, but it was two girls for a long time. We didn't watch anything like that, and I'm just like, it's just not like part of my world. So basically I did not really know anything about Megan Fox other than she was hot. And then when I watched this, I was like, oh my god, she's so funny. And she's
so I think people have talked about this, or people were kind of talking about it when she had her resurgence and kind of came out and was like, well, like I was essentially blacklisted by Hollywood and I shouldn't have been. And I think there was a lot of conversations around like the parallel universe where she'd actually had this massive high comedy, you know, like not just being the final girl, action girl, I'm out here in a tank top running away from things, you know what I mean? People have wondered about that career trajectory for her and what was taken from her. And then she started going out with Machine Gun Kelly and everyone was like, for fuck's sake. Right, that's it. She's gone again. Fair enough. She's just she'd rather be weird with her bleach blonde boyfriend, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just... What a shame. What a shame.
But now, isn't she releasing a poetry book? And it's
She is.
So, time will tell. We'll see what she has to say.
Yeah.
Or not.
We could be coming back and talking about that
Oh
book.
my God,
as
please.
You're more than welcome. You're
we
more
need
than welcome.
to.
When is that
Instant
out?
flop. I don't know.
Okay, we need to.
We
okay.
need to check that. But
we will revisit that.
And so this is the other thing about that time, and this is like my own internalized misogyny, which I think is good to look back on as well. I thought she was guy action hot, and I was like, okay, but then not that this is relevant or that this is like in her favor in it, but I was like, no, she's actually stunning. She's actually like beautiful and not just like you know, that like hotness that is for men, which is hot in itself now, but I was just like, she's so much more than I thought. And I feel like it was a good movie for that, even though, you know, some people say, like some critics would say it worked against her. I think it opened her up to a new audience.
Yeah, which I just don't think anyone has properly capitalised upon. Yeah, I know she did New Girl, but like, did you watch New Girl?
Yeah, I did. And her New Girl character, it pissed me off, but it was Nick upsetting me, not her.
Okay, but is she not just kind of playing herself slightly in the,
And it's just like, she's Megan Fox. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, Nick, every line he says is basically like, she's Megan Fox or whatever her character's name. And like, that really upset me in the end, because I was like, he just went back to Jess. I don't like believe the story of him going back. I wanted that to be more epic love story. But
I
we're
know,
not
but
here
I
to
think
talk
that
about
was,
that.
I know, and my God, we could be here all day. I do think that was fandom initiated. Like, I think everyone was like, Nick and Jess are in game. And people did not like Megan's character.
Yeah.
From what I gather, New Girl fans, sound off. helloflapculture@gmail.com. I want to hear your pressing thoughts.
I mean, they didn't give her much. Like, she was very one dimension. Like,
She was just filling it because Zooey Deschanel was on maternity leave. Yeah,
exactly. And like, you know, but whatever, who wouldn't want to end up with her? And then I just think, I know people have mixed feelings about Jess, but I think like ultimately she's like a good friend and she's a good person. She deserved better, and she probably deserved like to not just be, oh yeah, you're here and let's get married now, you know. But anyway.
Hashtag justice for Jess.
Please.
So a lot of the team behind the movie had commented about agreed with you on the marketing, that it was like completely fucked up. I think Diablo Cody, who is one of the writers on it, also one of the writers on Juno, Burlesque, Tully, she wrote the Madonna biopic that isn't coming out now, or maybe will, maybe won't. She came out and said that it was basically like that they were just pitching it to teenage boys. Like, it was an all-male marketing team apparently, and they just wouldn't, like, they didn't get it. She said, to market this to boys who like Megan Fox, that's who's going to see it. And I was like, no, this is a movie for girls too. That audience, they did not attempt to reach. Adam Brody said recently, he was like so he plays one of the fellas in the band. Also, sorry, Adam Brody. I know he's really evil in this, his character, but like, give him the world.
I know,
if he came to me and he was like,
God.
I need €10,000, I'd give to him.
Stop. Adam Brody.
Do I have
and
it?
Leighton
Not
Meester.
sure, but like, I would go
We do a GoFundMe.
I
We
go
would
100%, yeah.
For Adam Brody,
like,
yes.
I would fall asleep in that man's eyes. You know what I mean?
100%.
Just beautiful, perfect person. I love him. Anyway, sorry. He came out and said, he did an interview with The Independent. He said, Tava receives, now this was talking about Jennifer's Body as a whole. He said, Tava received such tepid reviews, and in a way, to be a punching bag, felt shitty. It wasn't my movie, so I didn't take the brunt of it, but it still felt a little unjust. And then he talked about the poster as well. He said the film was a marketing person's dream, and then to see them do that, referencing the film poster, part Goosebumps, part Maxim. It's not even anything she wears in the movie. The film was directed by a woman, starring two women, written by that year's screenwriting Oscar winner, Diablo Cody. And instead they're like, let's bury all of that. Don't tell anyone that. This is for people who like Transformers. And I think Megan Fox said it's one of her favourite movies she's ever done. Amanda Seyfried said the same. But I think Megan kind of blamed herself for a while as well for how the movie did, which makes me really sad.
That's
she is
so fucked.
like the shining star in this. Like,
Oh my
Amanda
God.
Seyfried is really good as well. Like, they're great on
They're
screen.
so good together. But like, that's just like, I don't know. That makes me so sad about Megan Fox, because I guess it's just like, maybe when you've like been in Hollywood or whatever so long, you're like, oh, this is the role. This is like who I'm perceived as, and like the crowd I attract, and it's almost as if like the control is taken away from you. Like, the movie is just so far from that. Like, as you say, like, directed by a woman, written by a woman, like, it's just not. But yeah, like, for her to blame herself when all she did was be iconic, and eat boys' guts. Like, how could you feel like you were at fault?
I didn't know this, but I was trawling the internet today as well. So the director, Karen Kusama, did an interview, I think, with the New York Times in 2016, and also kind of gave an example as to how the marketing department, like, fucked it up so much. She said that one of their marketing ideas was for Megan Fox to do live chats with amateur porn sites. And, like, your one had to beg them to not even mention it to Megan, because she'd obviously be like, you know,
so
she's
insulting.
already weathering this kind of public storm thing where it's just like she's sexy and nothing else. When I read that, it's on the IMDb, I was like, we are doomed as a society.
Like,
we are what? Just classic. Why do any women have imposter syndrome? I'm reading shit like this. You know what I mean? A man in the room was like, what does that have anything to do with the movie? Like, it's just so... When I think of other kind of... There's an Instagram account called Velvet Coke, I think, on Instagram, and they've shared, like, these iconic kind of marketing campaigns they did for other shows, like The Sopranos, what they did before the release of Sopranos, and like Kill Bill, and how they did stuff like blood and posters and stuff. I'm not doing it justice, go check.
No.
But when you look at what they did with that, and how they could have done something, like, so smart with Megan and the premise of the movie...
It's
I'd love a do-over, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of gas. You actually have to, like, laugh a bit, just because not only is the movie so the opposite of that, it's, like, at its core about, like, making men uncomfortable and murdering them. So it's just like, did anyone watch it on the marketing team and be like, ooh, maybe we shouldn't? It kind of makes it better that it's not like it was, oh, this is a movie that wouldn't suit men because, you know, it's about a female friendship and there's not too much sex in it, and it's really about, like, the relationship between them. It's like, no, not only is it about that, it's actually about, like, men being killed and eaten by women. So, like, I don't know, it just kind of makes it even funnier that that's what it's actually about. It's not funny, but it's just like,
it's funny because we're women and because we know.
Yeah.
One of the criticisms that comes up about it a lot, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, was this convergence of horror and comedy. But something other people said was that it kind of wasn't, like, comedic enough or scary enough. Like, it could have gone further with both. Is that something you agree with? Did you find it scary, I suppose? And as a comedian, did you find it funny?
I mean, it's not too scary. Like,
I thought it was going to be scarier.
Yeah.
It's certainly gory.
Yeah.
But it's not... There's very few real jump scary moments, in my opinion.
Yeah. But I think, like, comedy, horror, like, a few of the films I can think of, they're not too strong either way. Like, say, like, I don't know, this, like, Orphan or something like that. Like, they're a gas premise overall, but they might not be a laugh a minute. And I do think she has some great lines that are pretty funny. Again, obviously, like, maybe if it was made today, there would be less slurs. And maybe they'd be
ideally, if we could have that would be really good.
Maybe they'd be replaced with jokes, so that could be good. But there are some funny moments. I wouldn't be like, you know, break my whole laughing to it, but, like, yeah,
a couple of little throwaway quips. Who has the worst death in your opinion?
Oh, definitely emo guy,
Colin.
Poor guy. And I think I misremembered this, because when I was watching him, like, get ready for his date and stuff, I was like, oh, is there a thing with his, like, lip ring? I thought she, like, pulled it out or, like, did something with that, but I must have just imagined that in my head. But, like,
I actually, sorry, as you're saying that, I misremembered the Panic at the Disco thing as well. It's the scene where he's getting ready for the date, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking it would be him.
Yeah.
But
because obviously he's emo, of course. He's listening to Panic at the Disco.
Of course.
Classic, yeah.
And I think I felt sorriest for him because he actually seemed like a really sweet guy.
Such a, sweetie pie. And it seemed like he was going to escape.
Yeah.
It seemed like he'd kind of twigged it and was like, but then couldn't.
That's the other thing that's strange with it. Like, the guys who she murders aren't the biggest dickheads. And I don't know if that's a choice or if they just didn't, like, I don't know. Because I'm like, you could have easily made it feel like such a good revenge and like, yeah, that's the guy we wanted to kill the most.
Promising Young.
Oh,
woman.
yeah. Or what was it? Fucking John Tucker Must Die.
Yes,
Like if you get loads of examples of them being such a prick. And so I think in that way there wasn't too much reward. But maybe that's not what they were thinking about. Maybe they were like, look, she doesn't discriminate. She's going to kill everyone.
She's going to kill everyone. Your man that plays Colin, his name is Kyle Stephen Gallner. And if anyone has watched recently and is looking at him being like, why can I not place you? He was in Smile, if anyone saw that.
Oh, the really scary one.
Have you seen it?
No.
Very fucking scary.
Yeah.
Are you generally into horror?
No, I am. It's so funny. I was going to watch that last Halloween with my sister. She was over. And we were like, oh no, let's watch Halloween 3 instead. And then it turned out she has never watched a horror in her life.
Okay.
She was terrified by Halloween 3. I don't know if anyone's seen it. It's the least scary one.
I will say that's like a black spot. I have not seen any of the Halloween.
They're
Jamie,
so good. But like Halloween 3 is... It's not scary, but she just didn't even understand the concept of a jump scare. Like she was like, what's happening with this music? She was like, no, and I was like, I can't believe we were going to watch Smile. Like she would have been hospitalised.
She would have gone into cardiac arrest at Smile.
It's so funny.
Smile is... Fuck me, I found that so... And I remember Cian, sorry, not talking about to dry constantly on this podcast. He isn't that into scary movies, and but he's watched a couple of them with me for Flop Culture or whatever. And I saw Smile with my gang of friends, and he went to see Smile with another friend, and he left and was like, very, very scary, wasn't it? I was like, are you okay?
Are you
okay? I think, do we need to call in the psychologist? Like, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've heard it's very scary. I need to watch.
I would recommend. I hope they don't do a sequel, but they definitely will. Cause
they're mad for the sequels. I mean, where was the Jennifer's Body sequel?
But that it brings me nicely along. What does a Jennifer's Body sequel look like? Because obviously it ends with... what's her name? Needy. Which terrible name. Like I get it.
But I love it.
It's very. Do you?
I mean, it's very on the nose.
Yeah,
but it's Anita.
Ah, okay, yeah, that makes it. Yeah.
So I mean, there could be more reference to that. Because you're like, did someone name their baby Needy? Yeah. I mean, fair, but they are. But like, yeah, I kind of
babies generally a bit needy.
Do you know you're giving Needy? I actually kind of love the name, but. Yeah, I wonder, would they really jump on the fact, like, I mean, you know, the whole kind of critique of it, like, as a, like, Me Too, like, how relevant it is after that, and, like, what happened in the van, and, you know, I mean, they could potentially ruin it by getting too self-aware with it.
Which I think... It's a matter of time before they reboot it, I think. I don't see a sequel. I don't see a sequel with Needy because, like, we kind of see how that, like... Now, apparently in the original script... So, sorry, I'll back up, actually. Needy ends up killing Jennifer to transport the demon from Jennifer into her, right? Which so then she ends up being locked into a mental institution, but she manages to escape, and like as revenge she's going to kill the band, Anna Brody's band, Low Shoulder, like as revenge, and then it will be done, or maybe not done, but like she'll enact revenge because obviously she was in love with Jennifer and like friends, whatever. So we see that in the end. Apparently in the original script we actually weren't supposed to see the explicit end of them being killed. It was supposed to be kind of left more open-ended. I don't see a sequel, but I actively see them rebooting it like soon. And a part of me, while this movie is not perfect by any means, I need them to not do that. Because on what universe is there another Jennifer that isn't Megan Fox?
Yeah. It's too soon. It's too soon.
It's also too soon, but as you were saying it out loud, I was like, I could see them doing it and it being way more on the nose. Because as you've said, it's had this retrospective kind of re-look at it. Constance Grady talked about it for Vox in 2018, called it a forgotten feminist classic, said the film story of a group of powerful men sacrificing a girl's body on the altar of for their own professional advancement, became uncomfortably familiar. Obviously you're talking about this is, again, as the Me Too movement is peaking. The one thing I will say about it is, while I do think it could be funnier, there's still a lot of fun with it, and I feel like that could be diluted by a hard reboot, you know, of them being really on the nose and being like, women and blah, blah.
I know. And also,
Do I sound like a women hater now? I kind of think so,
look,
but anyway.
we're in a
shoot
safe
me.
space.
Yeah.
The internet.
Yeah, perfect.
You're
Nothing
just,
bad ever
everything's
happens
fine,
to women on the internet.
You know? But I think there's something that's like so crucial to it is the 2009-ness of it all. Like, I mean, you know, just like the like pathetic indie band, the like very 2009 high school stuff. I don't want it to be like Megan like doing a TikTok dance in her room. Like, I kind of want it to stay.
Oh, God, and it would definitely be
Oh,
that.
100%.
I think you're literally speaking it into existence, I'm going to be honest. You're
But
right.
also-
You're actually writing the movie, if anyone's looking.
Please no. And also, like, Megan could still play Jennifer. She actually looks younger now. So it's just like, why would we be like, it's not like, you know, in a reboot when they get like the protagonist to like play the mom or like whatever. I'm like, no, she would look younger than the daughter. So just don't rush anything and just watch original Jennifer's Body.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, there are bits about it. And I don't know, maybe there's ways it could have gone further. But also, I read one thing, and whether it was Diablo Cody or Karen Kusama, who was like, I just wanted to make a movie that was fun as well. And I'm like, you know, we can obviously analyse it to the cows come home, but it's definitely that.
Yeah.
It's definitely like, you can see why it's always screened again at Halloween and stuff. Like, because it is a movie that would like have a group of friends cackling, and you don't want to ruin that either. I'm not saying the feminists will ruin anything, because obviously I identify as part of that group. But look, sometimes we do ruin stuff. Okay?
Sometimes, unfortunately. Do you know what it was up against in the box office the weekend, or the week it was released?
Oh no, what?
Because it wasn't a commercial flop, like it made money. It made, so it was made for $16 million and then made $31.6 million. But obviously they thought it was going to make more because you're going off the back of like Megan Fox's name and stuff. It was up against the 3D animated film Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which is a perfect film.
I mean,
if you've never
what-
seen it.
what
You
do
want
you
to talk
go
about
to?
comedy? That's a fucking... I'm saying this without a hint of irony. That is a fucking hilarious movie. Genuinely. It's so funny.
Why did everything have to be 3D in that time? Like, we were just
Keenness,
not
yeah.
free of those 3D
No,
glasses.
this is 2009. We should have sacked that off at that point. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're not seeing it like... We're not seeing anything different here. Like,
Why do you like need a meatball to be hurtling towards you? I actually haven't seen that, to be fair.
I really actually cannot recommend it strongly enough.
Okay.
So good.
What's the plot?
I can't really remember. He's like a meteorologist, or his family are meteorologists, and then he's an inventor. He wants to be an inventor, but his inventions are really shit. So then he invents something that like fucks up the weather.
Oh.
And he's falling in love with someone as well. It is actually, I need to, actually, do you know what?
Hey.
I'm going to maybe just retract everything I've just said. I'm
No,
going to
that's
rewatch it and I'll come back and amend my statement. But
Yeah.
I remember being genuinely so impressed at the
Wowed.
time and thinking it was laugh out loud. Like, a laugh a minute.
Oh, I'm not a laughing minute.
What is that? Do you know this?
It's the USB. The Flintstones refer.
Okay, yeah. Luke knows. Okay,
I
we
think
need to
I
watch
was,
that.
maybe I was too old at that time.
I was probably too old as well. I think it was on, like, it was the Big Big movie or something. and I ended up watching it and I was like, cinema.
Right.
Cinema. This was also the time, I think, that kind of cinema was changing a small bit as well. There was a guy who did a big analysis as to why it flopped. His name is St. Van Aersdale, which is insane. Loads of reasons, like it was beyond the marketing. He names the marketing as one thing, but basically it was like a Fox offshoot, had it as well, the distributor, and it ended up folding before it was released, but the movie was done, so then it was kind of passed off to someone else, so that was a bit of a nightmare. The premiere was in Toronto. People didn't know what day it was being released, so there was confusion around that. But there was also a lot of hype around, again, now this kind of ties in with the shitty marketing, Amanda Seyfried and Megan Fox's like lesbian kiss. Like they were basically, and they've talked about that since, where it's like the close-up shots of like their tongues and everything. Megan was just like, I mean, come off it now. Like they were like, we have Megan Fox and we have her shifting another bird. We are going to make, this is going to be $1 billion movie.
Yeah.
And then cinema goers were like, no, actually, no.
I mean, why did
I'd rather
they
go
do
see Cloudy
that?
with a Chance of Meatballs.
Like, what? Look, similar vibes, you know?
I don't, as far as I'm aware, I don't think there's a lesbian kiss in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. But
That's what it was missing. That's why I didn't go
I
and
would
see
agree.
it.
Yeah.
But it is
Not enough
like,
representation.
It is. I mean, to be fair, I just said I was just saying to myself, why did they do that kiss? But I think a lot of women do know when you have like one of those toxic friendships. Like, I do think that's quite a relatable thing, and just that whole like power thing, and like, you know, like, if you're friends with like a more like powerful, more like beautiful, whatever, popular girl, they do kind of breadcrumb you like that a little bit. And like when no one's around, they'll be like, oh, I love you so much, and blah, like you're my best friend, blah, blah. And maybe they just like represented that with a big dirty shift. That's what I'm thinking.
That's what you're thinking.
You know, because she was like, she'd always be like making fun of her, cutting her down, but then being like, oh no, I love you. And so then maybe they kiss. Like, obviously, I'd say they were like, look, we've got Megan Fox in. Will we do a kiss as well?
Yeah. And I think it's also like, obviously, like, Needy is in love with Jennifer.
Of course.
But you're dead right in that dynamic is so compelling because it is relatable even amongst all the demon shit. Like, everyone's been in a friendship similar to that. Maybe the vibes or the feelings aren't as high or as heightened, but
more reason why young lads would not give a shit about this film. They'd be like, I do not care what's going on between these two girlies. Like,
it's Claire Parker from Celebrity Rumor Book Club was on to do Crossroads for the Patreon.
Love.
And she talked about the fact that, again, it's like, but now again, Crossroads is not a perfect film by any means, but her argument was that it's actually not. People don't take those kind of movies seriously because they're predominantly about like female friendship and stuff, so people dismiss it. Whereas actually, they're like very important representation wise in that regard.
So
I think this is similar, but it's dressed up, it's funny, you've got the horror elements.
Yeah, I do think the female friendship thing is something it does really well. Like, it's very specific, and it's like, ooh, yeah, I do know what it's like to be in that, and I think they like took their time a bit with that. With maybe some of the other elements, the horror stuff, maybe they were like, let's quickly throw this on, not to disrespect the girlies, Diablo and Karen, but I'm like, ooh, they could have gone a bit further with the horror. I think they could have, I think they could have made the people that got killed a bit more bad. I would have liked that. Maybe that's not the point of it. And I think, like, because I think that's something people, like, movies and TV have to do. Like, do you know in Bad Sisters?
I actually haven't seen that yet.
Oh, don't worry about it.
I don't watch it.
Yeah, no. Well then, no, do watch it. But we'll talk about it another time.
Sorry. So I've just ruined your entire point. Okay, perfect.
No, I literally thought about that just this second. I didn't come in with that. I wasn't like, this is my defining moment of the film or anything. But what else was I saying about it? Yeah, the horror. Yeah, some of it, like watching it back this time, I was like, oh, it's a bit like haphazardly thrown together, and like the teacher with the missing hat, like, what's it all about? And
I think sometimes it forgets whether, or just can't decide whether it's. I think there was definitely a way to play both, and I don't think it always lands. I think sometimes they do. I remember, because I was kind of reading a few bits about it before, as I was watching, and there's some critics talking about how the tone is a bit uneven. Yeah, and I kind of got that from, like, obviously I get that if this actually happened, people would be mourning their classmates and stuff. But there was a lot of, like, lingering on that felt really dark. And then the juxtaposition of, like, Megan not really giving a fuck, but she's inhabited by the demon now, and she's like, lol, peace, whatever, like... That kind of took me out of it sometimes, where I was like, how am I supposed to feel about these characters and what's happened? Am I supposed to feel bad, or am I supposed to be laughing at Megan and Jennifer, you know?
I just had a really horrific vision of, in the reboot, Jennifer like doing an Instagram live being like, Vanessa Hudgens in the pandemic being like, these people dying in the fire is, you know, horrible but inevitable. But I think, because watching it back, I'd completely forgotten about the fire. It was not needed, but then...
Yes, again, and I get it from the perspective of trauma, but a lot of lingering shots of people running out of the bar actively on fire, and Amanda's character Needy talking about how the character how the people smelt to her boyfriend. Like, I don't know.
And then it's like, this is not what the film's about.
Yeah.
Yet we're watching people burn. But I saw an interview, I think it was with Diablo Cody, or I read it, and she was saying that she wanted to capture like how tragedy is dealt with in a small town. And I do think that's really interesting. And like, you know, if there's someone who's not like making it their whole personality and not like going to the vigil and like holding hands and playing this out, but I don't think maybe they did that enough. I think that is like something really interesting to explore. But yeah, again, maybe they were trying to do too many genres potentially. But yeah, that just seemed a bit. There was no, not that there needs to be a payoff, but it didn't serve its purpose. It was like, why is it there?
Yeah.
Why was there this fire? She could have gone off in that van. Like, there didn't need to be a big like commotion where people died.
Yeah.
But look, that's the choice they made.
There you go. Do you think Chris Pratt remembers that he's in this movie?
I hope not, because
When
has
he appeared
no
on
part
screen,
in this.
I shrieked. There needs to be a trigger warning for Chris Pratt just appearing in movies.
They're like comparison between like Adam Brody and Chris Pratt. It's
Adam
just
Brody,
like
Angel from the Skies, Chris Pratt, international nightmare.
and like Adam Brody playing the villain as well.
I know.
I'm like, what? Oh, put a bit of eyeliner on him, and he's not like or what's his name in the OC? Seth.
Yeah,
Anymore.
Seth,
like
go on,
as
yeah.
if.
Yeah.
But Chris Pratt, no. Surely
A
not.
frightening experience. Honestly,
I would say
I was like, I hate every second of this, and I guarantee you, he denies that he's in this. I'd say he's
100%.
on IMDb being like, "Can you take this out of my credits, please?" Because like God would not be up.
Oh, he's
for
probably
this.
burning copies of it in his wife's church.
Yeah, 100%.
like he would be like, absolutely no. It's hilarious.
I have in all caps in my notes, Chris Pratt is in this movie. Like that. Fair play to the world for keeping that a secret from me until this week, because my God.
That's just another one of the things about it that's so ahead of its time. That's like, oh, who could have foreseen Chris Pratt playing the like doofus?
Yeah.
You know? I know he was that in Parks and Rec and stuff, but it's just like the Chris Pratt that we know today being in this film and being hoodwinked by a sex demon.
Yeah, he would literally never do something this good crack now.
I know. I'm like, were these women psychic? Like, did they have magical powers?
Yeah.
And I think they did.
I think they did. Okay, ultimately then, why do you think it flopped?
I think, as we were saying, it's the marketing thing. Like, I think in that Vox article, it said something about it was meant to be Twilight for teenage boys, which is just so mental to me. I'm just like, did anyone on the team watch this?
What does that even mean, though? You know what I mean? Like, that, again, I get what they're trying to say, that it's like that success and it's like that supernatural element, but then it's like, you've all these other things going on that don't tie in with that.
Exactly. And also,
Twilight
like,
for boys. What a
I
stupid
don't think
fucking-
you can't flip it on its head like that, because like Twilight is, you know, like a love story that like women have been sold since they're 3 years old and
Yeah.
can read stories, and
He
it's
just
like,
happens to be a vampire.
yeah,
And what?
it's forbidden. He loves you so much, but like he wants to
boy.
protect you,
Yeah.
but you have to stay away. And I'm like, I don't know how you flip that on its head for boys. It's a completely like different like upbringing and culture and that you're trying to cater for. I don't know what the opposite of it is, but it's certainly not Jennifer's body.
No.
And I guess, like, watching it at the time, I definitely didn't know it was a flop, but I obviously didn't watch things with this much incredible analysis as I do now. But I'd say it was purely that, and there wasn't enough riding. Maybe people would have liked to see Megan's boobies, which sadly they did not.
Yeah.
I think she should be allowed to keep some things for herself.
Yeah.
And
She should also be allowed to get them out if she wants to.
and I hope she
Because as we've
will.
already established, we are feminists.
And just any day now, any day, Megan. And maybe it'll be in the poetry book.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it's just...
Maybe it's all a ruse.
That's what I'm really hoping. But, yeah, I think, people, it's not what people thought it was going to be. The poster, the plot, everything. And yeah, I guess that's why. And maybe it just wasn't strong enough in terms of like, oh, there was no like love story. There was no, well, they won't they? There was no like payoff for a male hero. A man didn't save the day. There was no like, yeah, after all these men getting killed, it wasn't a man who comes back and kills the demon. It was a girl and her best friend. I just don't think that was something that would be hugely appreciated at the time. But it is in our hearts.
Yeah.
I think it was like written to always be not appreciated in its time.
Yeah.
And just to be a cult classic like this.
What's your elevator pitch for someone who hasn't watched it? This episode, essentially, yeah.
Well, Megan Fox, first of all, and just the very interesting point that all men should die. It's just, you know, and that's not what I mean or stand for myself.
Don't pander to the men here. You're talking to me.
Guys, it's 2 against 2. But yeah, I just think like that would be all I'd need to be sold. Like cheesy slasher-esque teen slasher movie, an appropriate bit of like, ooh, bit of smut, bit of skirt lifting up, but mostly, you know, they get you in with that, and then it's about much more. But I would trigger warning. I think if they were to redo it, I think the scene where she's getting murdered, I would trigger warning people. Yeah, because it's actually quite distressing.
It's
watching it back now. I was like, ooh, it was too on the nose.
Yeah.
So I would give a trigger warning to people. And for the slurs. But overall, get it into you.
Yeah.
Literally.
Fiona, what a pleasure it's been. I can't wait to have you back to review Megan Fox's poetry book.
Oh my God.
But before that, and in the meantime, where can people find you? You're very funny. You tell jokes in lots of places.
Thanks. Yes, I do. I'm mostly at Whelan's every Monday for Cherry Comedy. And I'd be gigging around the place. I share details of that on my Instagram. It's Fiona Frawley. I'm on the platform formerly known as Twitter as well. Also at Fiona Frawley, and a TikTok. I throw up the odd video, Fiona Frawley. So
stunning.
Yeah, that's it.
Fiona, what a pleasure to have you on Flop Culture. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Big thank you again to Fiona. I'll leave all of her links below. You need to get to one of her shows ASAP. Make it a priority. She is brilliant, and I can't wait to see what she does next. Jennifer's Body is available to stream now on Disney+. Finally, girls, it's Top of the Flops.
You're a flop.
Top of the Flops, to be honest, he just missed out on last week because of my recording schedule. Rishi Sunak, British Prime Minister, made remarks at the Conservative Party conference last week. Sunak told the audience, we shouldn't get bullied into believing that people can be any sex they want to be. They can't. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. That's just common sense. Attendees also heard from the Health Secretary, Steve Barclay, who promised to ban transgender hospital patients in England from being treated in female and male-only wards. I mean, if they're not characteristics of a coward, so far from a true leader, making sure everyone's eyes are looking elsewhere, anywhere else but themselves, pointing fingers at the most vulnerable people, some of the most vulnerable people in society right now, to deflect from the fact the decisions his party is responsible for has led to anti-theft alarms being put on baby formula in shops. No, the Tories, Conservative Party, couldn't possibly be the problem. The real problem lies in toilets and people wanting to live authentically, accessing basic healthcare. No, like it's all about having the focus off of them, smoke screens put up to insist about problems that aren't there, and if they are there, it's the smallest of decimals. It's just, it begs belief that we've gotten to this where there can be no acknowledgement of failings, and instead of owning up and wanting to do best by the people you're serving over, instead it is about, I will say once again, some of the most vulnerable people in our society under a microscope for, again, just wanting to live authentically, wanting to access basic healthcare, wanting to step outside their front door every day and feel safe and go to work and not have comments made, not have slurs thrown at them, not face violence. Very basic asks that should not have to be asked of any person, however you identify. Rishi Sunak, you are a gay bag. And you can say that this is a UK issue, it doesn't translate to Ireland or globally, but we're seeing it everywhere. When these types of people say these kinds of things, pandering actively to the far right, to the fringes, to get them on board because maybe they know they're losing whatever voter base they had because they've failed to protect other vulnerable people, they're like, yes, let's bring you guys in and let's get you all pointing fingers with us at these people, because how could it be our problem? How could it be something that we've done? No, it's the trans people. It's the people who are addicts. It's people who are not the same race as you. Like, it begs belief. We are getting into such a dangerous, and maybe it's not that we're even getting into, I think we're already in it, this very dangerous position and space. And I'm one small girl with one silly podcast, and none of this probably means anything, and I don't know how effective any of this is, but this is just to say, trans people are people, trans women are women, trans men are men. Your identity is valid. You deserve to be loved. You deserve everything. Everything. You deserve everything. And I'm so sorry that you continue to be persecuted like this for wanting to be alive, to put it as simply as that. I'm going to leave some charities and organisations and resources in the show notes below if you're, I don't know, if you want to help, if you have questions, completely fine, I get it. People have questions about these things, but it just comes back, basic fact of the matter, people want to live. Let them live. I need the celebrities to go back and start doing stupid things so I don't have to get on my soapbox at the end of every episode and be cross. I don't want to be cross. Flop culture is not about being cross. Usually. Flop culture is about flops and having fun. And with that, flop culture will return next week for another scary-ish installment. You'll probably need a Trenta no foam 5-shot half calf, no foam pumpkin spice latte with no foam at 210 degrees to go along with it. My name is Fionnuala Jones. This has been Flop Culture. Editing was done by Adam Shanahan. Until next week, bye bye. Love ya.